What is good, everyone? Welcome to the Sneaker History Podcast. My name is Nick Engvall, and before we get into today's episode, I'm going to ask a small favor from all of you. We've uploaded over 350 episodes of the show, and we're slowly creeping up on 600,000 downloads. I honestly can't even wrap my head around it. That is insane. Thank you so much for listening and being a part of this journey with us. If you could take a moment to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, hit that follow button on Spotify, and give us a rating, it would be greatly appreciated. I'm looking forward to taking the show to new levels in the coming months with more guests from the community, talks with industry professionals, and deeper dives into the sneaker stories that shape this obsession we are all so passionate about. And your support is going to make that happen, so thank you in advance. One last thing before we get into this episode, do the right thing. Tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a compliment will take you, and we all know how good it feels to be on the receiving end of some appreciation.
Jordan trying to shake off Starks. Oh, what a move by Jordan! LeBron James with no regard for human life. 12 seconds. Bryant for the win.
Iverson against Gill, the crowd on its feet. Allen for the win.
Welcome to the Sneaker History Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sneaker History Podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Mike, and we're back with another Coffee Time Kicks, guys. And today, if you hadn't seen them on Instagram, I'm sure you have if you're into sneakers, but I got a special guest with us, my homie Patrick, a.k.a. Sneaker Grandpa. What's going on, man?
What's up, everybody?
Hey, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you being here. You know, we just want to talk sneakers. You know, if you guys listen to the Coffee Time Kicks segments, we just bring guests on just to talk about things going on in sneakers now, some of their favorites, some things they got going on. And, of course, if you know sneaker history, we start off with a Rockin and Coppin, and I'd be remiss if I didn't let our guests go first. So, Patrick, what you got today, man?
Let me see. Got some. I didn't really think about it, actually, but some Kamikaze Lows, a little classic,
Nice.
some Reeboks.
Yeah,
And,
man.
I got my nice Reebok little fleece on here. It's nice stuff, so, yeah. How about
Perfect.
yourself?
Man, so what I'm rocking is, so I'm kind of cheating because I haven't left the house yet, but I'm going to be leaving later. I got to run some errands when we're all done here. So I'm going to be throwing on the Saucony and start the
nice.
armor pair. I feel like with it being actually, well, I guess not at this moment, but at least earlier today, it was cool down here in Houston. So it felt like a perfect time to throw these on. Yeah, pretty nice. I love the shoes so far, man. I love what they've been doing over there.
I got to grab those, and those orange laces are a must. It totally makes them. Orange is my color anyway, but, I mean, on that shoe, it's, like, perfect. It's a monochromatic, and then you just put that pop of orange. It's very military looking.
Exactly. So I didn't know about Star Cow before their first collaboration they did with Saucony, the green pair. And
Which I
apparently,
also need to get.
I do as well. That's one that's on my radar.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I would like to say, I thought they would sit for a little while, but with everything Saucony now, especially collaborations, they fly like that. So that was my bad on that.
Love to see it, too. Love to see it.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely. Something different. I mean, instead of the same things over and over. I mean, of course, we love the classics, but it's nice to see some things jumping in the fray and just, contending for that spotlight. I love it.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing with them is a lot of their inline pairs, the GRs, are just as good, if not better, than the collabs, and that's not something you see with every other brand, but the in-house design team is killing it on some of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That Crystal Cave and some of those from the past year or so. I mean, if you just slapped somebody's name on that and told me it was a collab, I would have believed you in a minute, and I wear those things all the time.
Dude, that Crystal Cave is so nice. It's one of the ones I was just in a conundrum of a couple things to pick up. It was like, do I get this one or that one? And because it wasn't a collaboration, like, okay, I have a chance to swing back around and get it. Not even. And it's super expensive on the resale market.
Is it really?
I went to go, maybe just because I have a typical, like, the size 10 is, like, I feel like the generic size for everybody at this point.
Yeah.
And I went to look. It was, at one point, $300. I'm like, I can't justify that. But if it drops, I have a notification on my phone. So if it drops on whatever website I'm using, it's going to alert me, and I'm going to go find it.
Yeah, for sure. It's worth it. Yeah, I'm a 9.5, so I'm about right there with you. We're right in that sweet spot. They make more of them, but they sell a lot of them too. So
definitely, man. Now, what about Coppin? Anything on the radar?
Really haven't done it. I mean, it's funny because I haven't done any podcasts in a while, and I just I say I got off the merry-go-round because I feel like that's what it is. You keep going, and then you stop. You go, oh, look at all these shoes I have in the closet. I can enjoy these now. And, releases come and go. And maybe if you sit and wait a little while, I mean, unlike some of the ones we're talking about, you end up getting it for less than what you thought. Or so really, I mean, I did get the Jordan 3s, the black cement. So I kind of had to get those. I say had, but I mean, that is such a classic from my childhood shoe that I really, I mean, I still have the, I guess, 2018 pair, but I really wanted to see between the two. I figure I'll keep the one. And the other night I got them out and I was like, okay, I can kind of see it. Because from pictures I was being pretty critical of it. But like in hand, I keep going to my searching Google for pictures of MJ wearing them, going, okay, you know, look at them. I mean, I was like, okay, I get it. Like there's a lot of the smaller details. I'm like, okay, they did a much better job on these. So I'm probably going to end up keeping those and getting rid of the 2018. Other than that, God, man, I can't even, I mean, really, you know, go maybe skipping ahead, but you know what I wear these days a lot is what we're talking about, like Asics, Saucony, the Omnis. I'm just all about comfort these days. You know, I can throw on a pair of Jordan 1s or 3s or Dunks or, you know, any basketball shoe, but really at the end of the day, my feet, I mean, I'm about to be 51 years old. I can't, you know, I just can't get through the day when I throw on a pair of On Clouds or Hokas or whatever. And so, you know, that's kind of what I've been wearing these days. I don't know. I still like to go in the closet every once in a while and pull something out and go, okay, I'm going to wear these. But for the most part, copying has been really, really slow. I'd say probably the last one I got was the J Tips, his last release. And actually it was here when he was here in Austin at Kicking It for the release. And so I got a pair for myself. I ended up getting the blue and pink pair. And then they were giving away the pairs for kids. So my younger daughter ended up getting a pair of I don't know what model it was. It wasn't the Omni.
Oh, the Shadow 6000 they did.
Yeah, the Shadow 6000. So she ended up getting a pair of those. So it was a cool event. He's a cool dude, totally chill, down to earth, which is nice to see. It's something when you've got somebody who's a little more humble like that and like appreciates the fact that they're getting this opportunity to do it versus I'm entitled to do this and I never get that vibe from him. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask you. I thought you were in Austin because I saw some of your posts at Kicking It. It's one of the stores I want to go like visit. So my wife's from the San Antonio area, so we're going to be going down that way for New Year's. So actually, I reached out to Greg. I was like, hey, I don't hope you don't mind. I want to go to the store and we'll try to do some filming in there because I never see it, but they have such a cool looking store. And I just want to go try to support as much as I could because it's funny. I met Greg like when I was in college back when I guess he worked at Nice Kicks.
Yeah.
So
that's where we met.
I go buy stuff and I remember like, man, I know this guy. And it turns out I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's cool, man. I saw you did were you at the event they did with the Jordan 11?
No, I didn't get to, but that San Antonio store definitely it's worth going to see. You know, I like you said, I've known Greg and Colin and Keenan and them since the Nice Kicks days because when I used to start back into sneakers and going in there and meeting them, and then when they all left and when Greg started to think about looking at stores and stuff, my wife is an architect, so he kind of brought both of us on to say, yeah, just kind of ask, what do you think of this space? And then we started talking about branding, and so she actually worked on the first store here.
Awesome.
But then I would say the San Antonio store is a little bit more of the vision, like the longer term vision, like what Austin could have been if everything had lined up correctly. But, you know, starting up a business, there's a lot of expenses. So San Antonio is definitely cool. It's a totally different vibe because the one here in Austin's in the Domain. So there's a lot of foot traffic that people might just stop in, whereas the one in San Antonio is kind of more a little standalone, so it's more of a destination. But that event was crazy. I mean, the Jordan brand came in and did a full takeover, and I mean that was unfortunately I couldn't go to any of it, but it was cool. I mean, I was so happy for those guys just to see like that type of growth from knowing where and whenever it was 2018 of just the vision of a store and what that would look like. To now, you know, being at that level is crazy, and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love to see like the new stores pop up because I mean, you get the same ones, which no shade to them whatsoever because they definitely have been these staples in the sneaker community. But it's nice to see new stores getting that nod from the brand, especially having such a big event, getting to release a really highly anticipated shoe early. I think that was really cool for them to be able to do so and then get people out there like Chris Paul and some other Spurs were out there, correct?
Yeah, it was. Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes and is it Castle? I think is his name, the younger kid.
I think
or
so.
Three of them came through. But
My
yeah, I
wife's
mean, I
the
think
Spurs fan.
it was cool the way they tied it back to him having worn those at the All-Star game in San Antonio, and so it kind of made it all right. But yeah, it was really cool. It was exciting. I wish I could have made it, but yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, and I think that's probably my cop right now. I haven't bought a pair of Jordan 11s in so long because just like you, I've kind of moved on. Now, I don't say moved on because I definitely still buy Jordans, right? Like you still get them every so often. They're still in my collection, probably not as many as it was before, but I'd rather wear something that's a little bit more comfortable for long term, especially I'm chasing kids around. It's easier for me to run around in a runner or something a little bit more comfortable. But I think it's not one of my favorites. It's just I haven't had one in a while, and I love the way this one's been rolling out. But the Legend Blue or the Columbia, whatever direction you want to call it, I think if I can find one sitting around after all Christmas madness is done, I think I might snag one for the right price.
Yeah, it's just 11's kind of a little past my time, I guess. I'm kind of a 1 through 9 or so guy with a few. I'd say 1 through 9, throw out the 7 and 8. That's how I'd put it.
Yeah. Okay.
So 1 through 6 and 9, and only 9 because I got those. That was my second ever pair of Jordans. I got those while I was in college when they came out. So otherwise, I'd have probably just said 1 through 6. So yeah.
Yeah, and I have a hard time. I feel like I'm almost in the same boat sometimes. Just like I want these other ones. Like if I could have got a pair of the 17 lows, one of the shoes as a kid I always wanted, never got it because they were pretty pricey then. I was like, oh okay, as 35, maybe I can get them now. But now they jacked the price up to $300. Yep. And they're super limited. I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. But in my head, I'm like, if I got them, would I have actually worn them? Or just more like, it's going to sit in that case somewhere in my office and become a piece of art here because it's hard to wear some of those bigger Jordans. Like 11s are, I think, now harder to wear because I don't wear the clothes that go along with that, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
But they're just really a cool shoe. It's one of those things. Like it's one of those shoes I think no matter hype or not, it will always have that particular place in a sneakerhead's heart. If you know that.
Yeah, and it's such a generational thing too. Like I remember having a conversation with Keenan from Kicking It, and he was talking about how like those 14s and 15s, that was his sweet spot because when he was a kid, when he first started getting a sneaker, that was it. I'm like, okay, well for me, that's the 1 through 4 basically. Yeah, and so I get it. It's just not for me. It doesn't make it any better or worse. It's just that's your sort of sweet spot. But I'm not gonna pretend like just because they're hyped or whatever, like the 17, like, okay, cool. I'm glad. For me, it's absolutely not, no interest whatsoever, but I get the way someone could be totally excited about the fact that they're coming back, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. And that's a good thing about sneakers. And I don't think a lot of people realize that because they'll go on these tangents and arguments of why not this? It's like, everyone has their thing, their lane, and like I say, use more like you say 1 through 6-ish, you say throw in a 9. Some people higher numbers, but it's cool to see what everyone's their style, their passion in the thing because there's so many different things out there. And one of the things I love about your page, Patrick, is your diversity in sneakers. It is such you have everything like from the Jordan 3s to Asics, Saucony, you name it. There's so many things you have. It seems like affinity for or love for when it comes to sneakers is not just one particular, just like, this brand loyalty people have when they're not working for these brands. How do you, for someone who grew up in that Jordan era, how did you find yourself able to break away? 'Cause I feel like some people get stuck because they grew up in an era and they're not able to expand.
Yeah, I think it's because I didn't really like that era came about when I was starting to get interested. But before that, I was thinking about like Converse with the Weapon when those came back out recently. Converse was a big deal. Dr. J was wearing them, and then you had the Magic Bird, and then you had Isaiah and Kevin McHale and Bernard King, Mark Aguirre, and they had all those cool commercials. So really, like, they were doing it almost before Jordan and them were doing it. And Adidas, I remember my dad and family members, people wearing Adidas. I guess probably Sambas or Gazelles or whatever's hot right now. But like that was just, you didn't have that many choices. So I guess my view of things was wider because I didn't grow up in such a Nike-dominated, Jordan-dominated era. I saw it come about, and I was interested in it. But so I guess really, like, for me, that's why Reebok's always stood out, just because those are some of the first shoes I remember having. I mean, I think one of the first basketball shoes I wore in, I don't know, 5th, 6th grade were like the Worthy New Balance, the 740. Is it the 740?
740,
that black and white. Yeah. So like that. And then later, Reeboks, like I said. So Avias. So that's like when Avia comes back, I'm like, well, shit, that was, my 7th grade, whatever it was, basketball, 6th grade, whatever it was. So like those mean something to me, and I don't have like a hierarchy for them the way people do now. Like, oh, that's trash, Pony, whatever else. That was stuff was cool back then. Those Patrick Ewing, Adidas high tops, the Attitude and the Conductor and all those. I mean, I loved them, not only because they were Mets colors, but also just, but now we've got this mindset so much, not all of us, but a lot of us, where, if it's not Jordan or Nike, if it's not hyped, if it's not resale, then it's trash. Well, give them to me all day long. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll take them.
I guess that's why. I mean, like Asics, I remember high school cross country, and the guys were running in gel light 2s, I think, before they went with the split tongue. So like, I've always said this shoes that a lot of them that are popular now were being used for their intended purpose while I was growing up. So I don't have that same connection to them, or I don't know, adoration for them. I don't know what you'd call it, where you worship a shoe. It's like, this is just, I didn't have them when I was a kid, so I have an opportunity to get them now. And so, yeah. But I also always just say, like, if we all like the same stuff, it would be so boring. Life would be boring. And that's what I was seeing for several years there when I was going to sneaker shows is, for a while there, it was either Jordans, Kobe's, LeBron's, KD's, and that was it. And then after that, it was pretty much Yeezy. Yeezy. Every table we went to was 30 different tones of Yeezy. That's all they had.
How many browns can you have?
And they'd go to the one table, the dude that had like Reebok, or, a buddy here, Cam, that has a bunch of pennies and stuff like that. Like, that's cool. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see all you're just shopping is, I don't know. It's different. That's where I start to sound like the old man, I guess, but I'll take it.
Oh, no, man. That's one of those things. I think me and the guys on the show, I think we kind of fall in that same category, though. We love to see the differences. It wasn't this year. It was, clearly it wasn't. It was last year. They did a sneaker con in Houston. My wife and I went, and I swear, man, all I saw was SB Jordan 4s, military black Jordan 4s. At that point, I guess it was the Reverse Grinch Kobe's that come out. Those. I'm like, the only person that really made me stop and want to talk to them, it was a guy wearing the T-Mac 2 All-Star. He had the mismatched pairs on. I was like, I got to stop and talk to this guy. There's no way I can't, because
the red and blue.
Yeah, he had the red and blue on. I was like, yes, that's amazing to see stuff like that. But it's like, you're right. It was just kind of copy and paste, everyone wearing the same thing and everyone selling the same thing too. It's like, I don't want to just walk into a table with, I guess at the time, Jordan 4s or any Travis Scott. I don't necessarily hate the shoe, but I like to be different. I think I've had this kind of contrarian belief sometimes, in just my sneakers, just trying to I don't want to wear the same thing, because what's the point? Like I said, I don't want to look like you.
It was always about standing out and being different, and people looking at you going, "Oh wow, what are the?" And I'm still able to get that just because I'm wearing things like. People call, can I get, you can just go to the Reebok site. Really? Yeah. This is a whole different world. I know you're not used to that world, but you can go on the site and you can order the shoe, or you can even search and you'll probably find them for under retail. Really? Yeah. Believe it or not, but it's the same thing though, going into Kicking It, they talk about all the time. People come in there and they don't even understand. Some people in this generation, or even some of the parents, don't understand the concept of retail. They're just right away assume that everything is resale, because we've already gone to that spot where you're going to pay at least $300, and then come in and look at the shoes and go, what's wrong with them? Are these real? What is we are a retail shop, but it's just the mentality is so different. But it's
backwards
funny.
Now. It used to be resale shop was the last line of defense. Okay, I can't find it anywhere in any of my local shops, the big box store, so I got to go to my, whatever reseller. But now it's the flip side. It's we'll go talk to the reseller first, which I'm like, unless they have it for lower than what it's boxed or priced at the box store or in my retail shop, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think and all the time. I think the most I've ever paid is somewhere in the 300 range, and it's been a long time since then.
Yeah,
it's pretty much like you're saying. If I can't get it, then I'm not. If I couldn't get it or didn't have it, I'm not paying it. I'm just not feeding that beast because I really don't want. I mean, the only one I could think of, if you asked me to name, were the Union ones.
Okay.
The Jordan ones. I wish that I had maybe grabbed those at the time because now they're just out of too much.
Yeah.
And I know they've got some new ones coming, but that to me, that pair with the blue, red, and black is just it's so perfect.
Yeah, it's something about the new one. I love the Shadows. I honestly, Shadow and Royals are my two favorite Jordan ones, but I don't know why. Just this pair doesn't seem to have that same character as the first two. Like the other ones, I don't know, something about them. They looked perfect together. These looks like they just, all right, let's slap them together and let's see if we get someone to bite.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it worked the first time, so let's just rework it. But, No, I think that's what it was. It was just so different and sort of out of left field. No one really, I would say no one, most people didn't know who they were. Yeah. Everyone was saying they looked like some flea market seconds or whatever. And then sure enough, the whole thing. But it also makes me think like how many pairs that I had to have or I thought I had to have. And then when it came in, like, I can't even remember them now. And I'm glad that I didn't pay that because I ended up getting 2 or 3 other pairs for the same what I would have paid for those. And yeah, I don't know. It's just
I am oh my God, it's funny, you took the words out of my mouth. I literally, if someone says, all right, here's $500, you can go buy this one pair of shoes, or we can find a way to buy multiples. And I'm like, all right, my idea of this one shoe goes out the window because there's so many cool things out there. Like with the Reeboks, I'm a huge Reebok fan. Like when they brought back the Court Victory pump this year, fantastic. I love it. I hope they keep pumping them out. Because I'm a big fan of old tennis shoes. I'm really mad about the whole Air Check Challenge, how limited that was, and trying to find a way to scoop that one up for low. But I just like those different things. Like you don't see you or maybe 4, 5 of the people I follow on Instagram may have actually done posts or photos with the Court Victory pump. I was like, I am glad that someone else giving the respect to the shoe because I was like, am I the only one out here that is not like, what was going on? Because this is such a classic. It has a real story behind it. With Michael Chang winning in those as the youngest champion. I don't know. It's just, that's a real piece of history. And I think that's really cool to have those pieces in the collection. Like there's only so many stories you can dump on me on a Jordan 1. Like, again, beautiful shoe. I love the Jordan 1, one of my favorites, but I don't care about the bubblegum Jordan 1s or, I get to a point of like, you're forcing a story. Like, it's okay. Let's move on to the next one. We can move.
No, I agree. And like you say, I mean, I think that goes back to my background of knowing like Reebok really had something going there. In the late 80s, early 90s. I mean, they were ahead of everybody else for what, that is. And so they've got this whole archive. And so that to me, like you're saying that, I remember that. I mean, there's so many shoes that I'd love to see them have to bring out. But I just worry about whether they'd sell or not. I just know from talking to people there that used to work there that, that we know, but you're never going to see that shoe because we know there's a niche group that wants that, but that's outside that, it's not going to suddenly get hot. And it's proven true kind of over and over again. But that archive, I mean, if they could jump into some of the pump runners and pump workout shoes and stuff. I mean, there was just that whole period there of just, it was everywhere. It was across every sport. The basketball catalog was crazy. I mean, you had some of the biggest athletes and colleges and everything else, but it's unfortunate sort of the way the brand, I think, really started when Adidas bought them. They were already kind of heading downhill, and then now, I don't know. I don't know what the direction's going to be.
I feel like now, since they're out of the clutches of Adidas, because I feel like Adidas kind of treated them like an afterthought when it came to like releases and things like that. But I feel like now they're back. Not on their own, but they're not in that shadow of Adidas. I feel like they have been really working hard to get some really quality things out there. I mean, you look at the Premier running stuff they brought back. They've been doing really good with those. Whether it be the Premier Row Plus 6, which is like the cheaper model. It was like $90, which I think is a brilliant runner for $90. I love it. I wear it all the time. Up to the Premier Ultras, which are the LTDs.
Yeah.
I think they're on the right path. Looks like with the Engine A coming out next year for basketball, hopefully they can get some good names behind that one. I just think that is I think they have a chance to get back in it. This is the best time for a brand to really try to assert some dominance because I feel like the field's wide open. People are looking for something different, and if you can give them something worthwhile, they'll jump on it.
Yeah, I think that the hard part is that they are unlike some of these other brands that are sort of smaller, or nimble. They aren't or weren't before. They were this big brand that was kind of, they were kind of all over the place. And like you said, I want you to do lots of versions, but how many more answers do we need? I mean, questions do we need? Like how many different colorways? How many different mishmashes of Club C's and classic leathers do we need? And crossovers and collabs with Candyland or what? That stuff is it's kind of just all over the place. And I guess if you look at the group that bought them, I mean, they're basically picking up classic brands and I want to say watering it down, but sort of condensing it a little bit to sort of its essence and not so much. But that's interesting because what you mentioned is they're also going into technical stuff now. So got some running shoes like the Zig Float Ride is a great shoe.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
The basketball shoe, I'm curious. So it's like, okay, so you are a legacy brand like they did with, Brooks Brothers, Nautica, whatever, name them all that's in their portfolio. Or are you also going to have a technical brand too? So, but yeah, it's like you said, I mean, all these brands like Saucony, I think is one that just sort of said, look, we're not the big guys, so we're not going to try and do what they do. And that's when they started collabing. If you talk to Jason or them, they started collabing with other groups, with creatives saying, we're going to do our own thing. We're not going to try and follow the blueprint of everybody else because we can't really keep up with that. So let's just do our own thing. And it's worked. I mean, like I said, Pony, they've tried to relaunch. I guess it didn't go so well, and then they kind of went away, and now they've come back, and I think they're doing a good job with their stuff. K-Swiss is back out there.
K-Swiss is back. It blew my mind. Like, man, I haven't seen these in forever.
Yeah, they had an agency reach out to me and said, hey, we're coming back to you and send you some stuff. Like, man, I've never owned a pair of K. I always loved them. I was like, sure, I'll give them a try, and they're great. They're really well done. Pony the same way. I know Mizuno's kind of tiptoeing around a little bit, which is interesting.
Mizuno is about to blow, I think, because I've noticed what they've been doing overseas in Europe and Asia, and they've started to slowly open that gate up here in the States. So what makes it hard for them right now is Kith is the only authorized retailer for their sports style. They have their sports style website, but it's not as the releases are very far behind. So they'll release something in Asia and Europe, let's say today, it may not get here for another month or so. And people seem to be, because I follow their sports style site, and it seems like people are really intrigued. They're just waiting for it to get here.
Yeah.
I bought two of their models, the Wave Rider Beta and the Wave Rider 10. Amazing sneakers. Like, I say, if you put that, a New Balance, an ASIC, Saucony all in line, is like, I could live off those shoes, and they're great materials as well for prices. But they're great materials.
Yeah, no, it's true, and I definitely, because they reached out. This is a couple years ago or so, and so sent me 2 or 3 pairs, and it was actually a pack, and so right away people started asking. So I'm asking the people since, it's like, well, we're not really, we're sort of just filling it out. I'm like, okay, well, cool. I mean. But now I think it is, like you said, I think it's time now. I think that's coming soon. But yeah, I mean, them, gosh, who else? I mean, they're just so, seen a Tonic try to come and go, but didn't work out. I know Brooks did a thing with their legacy brand, and it went away. I've heard rumors maybe it's coming back. But yeah, I mean, like you said, there's so many. I mean, think about ASICs. They were it forever there for a while. They're not forever, for quite a while, especially when Ronnie and everybody's collabing the 25th and 30th anniversary. Yeah. And it was just a thud. Like, you did not hear from them at all. And it's almost like yeah. I mean, they were around and they were releasing stuff, but then suddenly now it's everywhere. I mean, it's funny because I'm like, it kind of looks like the same shoe over and over again. I mean, it's basically got like a white base with some silver accents and then some accent color. And you can tell me it's a different model, but I'm not sure.
I believe you.
You can put your branding on the tag, but it's great. I mean, it's an amazing shoe. Like I said, it's something I want to wear, and especially some of those the 2 lower models. What is the 11? Is it the 1120 and the
22?
20? Yeah. Like you can get them for $90, $110 all day long. Just what we were saying earlier. You're going to give me 3 pairs of those. You're going to give me 1 pair of hype shoe that I'm not going to wear at all. So all day long. Back to my old man status. I want to be light, comfortable, breathable. You're in Houston. I'm here in Austin. It's hot, dude.
Yeah,
I can't wear a bunch of suede out shoes or heavy high tops.
Jordan 3 is my favorite Jordan model. I'm just like, I can't keep buying these because they're too hot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm waiting for, and again, it goes back to where we live. It's just not as practical, but I am in love with the Gel Light 3, Gel Light 5, those suedes. When that time was in, they're pumping those out. I'm telling you. So I loved all of them. And even though they were kind of on the switch from the traditional old school runner to now the Y2K style mesh runner, a year or two ago, they were releasing these packs. It was like these really Japanese inspired packs. And like one's like the wisteria plant. That's what, if you would have put Ronnie's name on it, it would have been. You would have believed it was a Kith collaboration. They still put the care and quality into each of these models with the Gel Light 3s. I'm talking about. I paid $120. Leather and suede was out of this world. I'm like, why am I paying these other brands $200+ and I'm getting cardboard? And that's my argument all the time. I'm like, I just bought a Gel Light 3, and it is like it probably should have cost more money than what it was for.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. And going back to what you're saying earlier, like with Reebok, with the Premier Road Modern and all those, I mean, really that, and actually like the DMX, the runners, what am I thinking of? Not their old DMX. What was it called? The Daytona. Sorry, Daytona DMX.
Oh, yeah. They did that a couple years back, too. Again.
But see, that's the thing is they were ahead of it. If they had released those more now, with the trend is more the technical runners with the big mesh and the metallic accents, it's there right now. So it's interesting that they did bring those back because people are like, ooh, these are awesome. Like they were here about 3 or 4 years ago and nobody was paying attention to them because it wasn't their time yet. And you could get those for cheap because they all went on sale and were mostly overseas. I remember having to get a lot of those from European shops just because no one over here was really carrying them.
Yep. What was the one they had was it the Paris? They had like the pump on the side.
Yeah, the Paris pump. Yeah.
I was like, man, such a cool shoe, but I couldn't. Of course, you couldn't find it.
And I got them from Japan or Korea or somewhere from eBay for a decent price. But yeah.
And it's just, I mean, those are just cool things. Like when you look at a collection, it's like, okay, like I remember that. That's why I love when people like have those, like people that have your type of collection. When you post things like, oh, I remember those. I hadn't seen those in forever. It really, in a sense of the word, it cleanses the palette of like the same thing I'm seeing. It's like, boom, all right, I know Patrick has something that's for me. Like, come on, and some of the other guys out there, and it's cool. I mean.
No, I know what you mean. There's plenty of people I follow that are like that, like, oh, wow, okay, yeah. I mean, I get it. And they're not doing it because it's hype, because you were able to get your hands on this pair that released a week ago. It's some pair that may have been hot 10, 12 years ago, some J. Crew New Balances or something like that. J. Crew New Balance, what are you talking about? Like, you don't even know, man. There was a time where that was it, dude.
That was a collaboration.
Yeah. But stuff like that, that excites me more. And that's why sometimes, like I said, now that I haven't been buying as many pairs, I love going in the closet and digging through there and going, oh, man, something way in the back that I got to reach for. Like, oh, I forgot. Or what I'll do, I'll just go through my Instagram feed and just keep going back like 3-4 years ago going, oh, these, where are I got to go find them now because I'm going to wear these tomorrow. Yeah, I can still go and pull out the concepts, the seals, the West NYC Alpine Guides. I mean, stuff like that. I remember what it took to try and get them. I mean, like those West NYC, they didn't have a website, or you couldn't order through their website at that time. So you had to call the shop in New York. And it was like one of those, there's a busy signal. So you had to keep calling and calling. Finally, let me see. Yeah, I got a 9.5. Like taking your info over the phone, something you would never do today. You wouldn't give someone your credit card info over the phone and have them ship it. It shows up 2 weeks later. But like that, you can't replace that with clicking a thing and just waiting. Okay, you're in line. Okay, you got them. You didn't get them. Just put them down. Like there's no effort in that whatsoever. And or you knew somebody that was in Boston or New York, and you help them out, and then a couple weeks later when there's a release and they want some of those gel light threes like you're talking about, and here in Austin nobody's going for those, so I'm able to go to Nice Kicks and say, how many pairs? Like, as many as you want. So I'm messaging my buddies like, let me get an 11, 11 and a half, 12, whatever. They're PayPaling me the money. I mean, like, you just don't see that as often anymore.
No, and you know what's funny you say that is because one of my things that, me and the guys talk about on the pod is like, we want to make sure, like, one of my goals for next year is to get back out there because, again, I work from home. My normal 9 to 5, I work from home. So it's easy for me to like say, oh, okay, let me turn around, click buy if it's there. But being able, I went somewhere. I took my son to, buy some sneakers some months back. And we're like, you know what? We're going to go out. We're going to actually get out of the house. We drove down to the Woodlands and they opened up a Nike store. We went there. We went to the mall next door. We just walked around. It was like, I forgot the feeling of being able to go in and just grab the shoe, sit with it. Until I saw my son doing it. I was like, go, like, look and see what you like. And him grabbing a pair of, like, the, Air Max Plus, grabbing a pair of, New Balance? I think it was like 740. I can't remember what pair it was. But it was cool to see that. I was like, I think it kind of reignited me wanting to go into physical stores again. It's like, that's fun because it's like you get to see it and the excitement's still there because it's this thing when you order something, the excitement's there. Like, look at the tracking, get to your open it, excited, then it's in a pile somewhere. Yeah. And when I was a kid, when I was younger, I was like, I would go to the store, try on a shoe. If I'm excited about it, I'm going to keep the shoe on. Like, I put my old shoes in the box.
Yes.
I'm out of here,
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what's been really cool about Kicking It is they've brought a lot of that back. Like the first come, first serve, the live raffles, the just the hunts, what do you call it, like scavenger hunts, things like that, games, trivia, things to make it fun and create a sense of community that you used to have. Like you said, the people that you meet, because you might see the same people waiting in line every time and, hold each other's place in line or help each other out, going back to that thing versus, you talk about it with any type of shop. I mean, your Saturday customers are always going to be there because that's when the releases are. So you're going to have the guys that come first thing in the morning, line up, get their shoes, they're gone. And you're not going to see them until the next Saturday when there's another one versus the people who will come to your shop on Tuesday or Wednesday or come support your clothing drive or your food drive or show up for your event or whatever it is. And so I think these guys have definitely created a lot more of that I'm really happy to see.
That's awesome.
And I think there are other places that are doing it too, but just in my experience here that they definitely are.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited to go see the store because I've always been like, it always slips in my mind when I go, and I just like made a point because I was like, I want to see it. I have a week off. We're going to be down there. I was like, I'm going to take one of these days and just go over there and just see it. Support the shop, probably buy a pair, buy a shirt, at least something just to support them because it's cool to see what they're doing. And like I said, they're community driven at all the events they do. And it's nice because people are like, oh, you can't do lineups anymore. You can't do first come, first serve. And I'm sure they have their challenges they have to deal with over there. But from everything I've seen, because they offer respect to their patrons, they get the same back. It's not like I'm all high and mighty because I have a sneaker shop. They're providing like a community, a stop, a place for people to come. And I think people they want that. So they don't want it to go away. So they're going to be able to, they want to keep this like a safe haven. So let's do the right thing around it. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, like when you see the mom and son standing in line or the dad and son or dad and daughter or whatever together, I mean, that as a parent, we can both appreciate that. Like those experiences kind of mean something. So you're providing a venue for that. And that's really cool too. Again, something that you don't get from an app that you enter a raffle and, or wait for the email to come or whatever. Like it's totally, to your point, it's just, there's that excitement, that adrenaline rush is just not even fun. At least even when you used to have to manually try and check out, there was some adrenaline rush to that. It was kind of fun. You're going and trying to, you got to autofill, pay with PayPal, don't pay with PayPal, always pay with credit card. There were all these tricks of how you needed to do it. Even that's gone now.
Yeah, I mean, you just click it, your iPhone fills everything out. We're good. We're out here.
Yeah. But it's fun. I mean, there's still plenty. And I think, also for me, one thing that's fun is I've seen throughout the years more and more people closer to my age who have gotten into sneakers. And so, again, they have a different concept of it because they, again, remember having these shoes or wanting these shoes as a kid. So it kind of means something. So I guess in any way of sort of providing some affirmation that it's okay to wear sneakers at this age or be into it or whatever, because when I first started, 10, 12 years ago, part of the reason I did my Instagram page and part of the reason I went and hung out when those guys were at Nice Kicks was because there was no one else that I could associate with. If I went with my peers or work people or friends of other parents, they didn't know about it. Like, why do you have that many sneakers? I don't get it. They might remember them kind of, sort of. But now you look around, I get to my daughter's dance performance. I got this dad over here, I don't want to call him a dork, but kind of dorky dude, and he's wearing Travis Scott's. I'm like, holy cow, this other guy over here's got the Travis Scott Air Max ones the other day. I was like, how does this dude even know about that? Like, he doesn't, not to judge by that, but I'm just saying, like, what a difference in the last probably 5-6 years at least, where sneakers are so ubiquitous that just, age doesn't really matter anymore.
Yep. No, I told my wife, I was joking, like, I'm going to be 80 years old still wearing my sneakers, and you just catch me in tech fleece for catch me comfortable forever. Like, that's, I hate dress shoes.
Yeah. I mean, it just got for me for work where it's just, I wear them every day. And then also even once with some of my clients kind of figured out who I was or, found my page or we started talking about it. Well, then there was like this expectation, like, okay, but when I come in, hey, what are you wearing? What are those? Like, okay, I'm a man too, my face is up here. Stop looking down.
Look up here.
That's exactly.
That's what if anytime they go in the office, they're like, it's very seldom like, and they're like, what's Mike wearing today? I'm like, hi to you. I mean,
I know.
Hey, no,
I'm a person too, right?
I'm a man. Well,
yeah.
So as we, I feel like the sneaker world is kind of self-healing a bit. With a lot of things coming back, a lot of, accessibility for people who maybe don't want to go do the apps. What's something you're looking forward to in 2025, whether it be a release or maybe just any event or anything? Just maybe something different with the culture now with sneakers, community with sneakers that you're looking forward to.
I mean, I think the fact that prices are starting to come down, resale's kind of dying down a little bit. I mean, I don't, I appreciate the hustle of people who do it for a living, so I don't want to see anybody's business go down or do anything. But, it's kind of a give or take on that. But I think maybe a little bit more of that things being accessible. I would say I'm excited about some of the Jordan releases coming up because they've got some really solid stuff next year. But when you're going to charge $250 for the black and red ones, I'm like, what's going to be special about it? I mean, there's nothing that you could do that you could convince me that they're worth that much. We're already charging $225 whatever for the 3s and 4s. So now you're going to tell me that ones are at that. I mean, I don't know. Is that the way that, because now they're more widely available, so now you're just gonna make them expensive? I don't know. There's a greed part of that where
$100 in cash in those. That's
yeah. I don't know. So I mean, but I don't know. I think maybe it'll be a good place for me to truly like sort of reset and reevaluate and kind of look at sort of what I've already been doing this back half of the year of just not going after everything, appreciating what I have, and but I also just think it's always cool to see new stuff come like that, like we talked about. I mean, these new models that haven't been there before. Geeks like us are going to appreciate it more, those court victory pumps or whatever, than the general population is going to, than another iteration of an Asics or a New Balance or whatever. But I mean, I'm pretty excited for stuff like that. We'll see. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I hope everyone stays on the same track. These, I don't want to call them smaller brands because they're still big brands, but I like what they're doing. Like, again, just pushing the envelope, doing different things, not feeling like they have to do the same as Nike or Adidas. They're really finding their own lane. So hope we get more of that and just keep growing. I mean, everyone says it, but it's 100% true. But when everyone's doing well, that promotes competition, which means we get better product. So I hope that's the case where they keep pushing each other where we get better things in the long run. But those prices need to come down because there's a lot of things I want Jordan-wise out there, a lot of things I want in general, but Jordan itself, I'm like, man, I can't justify, like say a Jordan 1 at $200. I can't, but I find it cheaper. Hey, we're in business.
Well, and I was talking to someone the other day. I'm like, I'm at the point now over the last 15 years or so, 12, 15 years, where we're now on the third, fourth iteration of the Jordan 1 Chicago or black and red. So it's like, do I really need like the Lost and Found that came out? I liked them, but my the whatever pair I had, was it 2015 or whatever it was, are perfectly fine. And they're truer to me, like to the true color. So I didn't even keep them because like those are fine. And sort of the same with the 3s, the 4s. I mean, like as long as it has Nike Air on the tab, there's not much else you're going to change. I mean, granted, like I said, those black 3s, I see the differences. But if you'd have never shown them to me, I would have been completely fine with my 2018 pair and be content. So that's my other place is like, okay. And, I'm lucky enough to, with the guys at Kicking It that I have the access is not usually an issue on those things. So it's not a matter of having to do that. But it's just like, do I really even want them?
Yeah, that's always nice. Like the self-awareness is a good thing. It's like, I know at one point people are just buying to just like, oh, I got to buy it. It's release. If I want to get the next thing, I got to buy this. So, or they're thinking that whatever app you use is going to give them preferential treatment if they keep buying things. But I like that we can sit back and say, you know what? Let me think about it. Because right now, yet and still, last pair of 3s I had was a 2011 black cement. Was the last black cement I had. I didn't get the 2018s. My 2011s fell apart, and I'm like, I kind of want them. I don't need them. I appreciate them for what they are. I've had them before, but if I were to walk into a store and they had them, and I had the expendable cash, I'm okay with buying it. Because I didn't have to run through a line of people. I didn't have to deal with bots and all that. It's nice to have the option, but I can always say no. I like that. I have the option to reject it, which you always do, but I don't feel like, oh, if I don't buy it now, I won't get the next release, or I won't get the next release. It's not a hustle and bustle towards the sneaker anymore, which
not anymore.
I like.
Not at least not for me, it isn't. But I feel like in general, it isn't that way, which is nice.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's funny taking a step back and purchasing. There's so many other things people deal with now. Like again, I got 4 kids. I'm like, guys, I got to deal with you guys first. We'll see if there's sneaker money left afterwards. But for now, I'm going to take care of you guys. Okay.
Yeah, I got 2 teenagers, so we're in the buying cars and thinking about college and stuff. So another pair of sneakers is not, not money well spent these days, unless there's a couple pairs going. Unless there's a couple pairs going out, which is what I'm constantly trying to do. And even selling like that, most of the time I'm looking at a fair price. I mean, there was stuff that I sold maybe a year or so ago that was, oh my God, I can't believe you're selling these, and they were happy. This is a good price. I'm like, okay, well, you're happy and I'm happy. That's the way it should be. Like, we know each other. We're more or less friends. So I know that you want them. So let's make it a fair price. I've researched to know enough if you were going, and you obviously have too, if you went to StockX or whatever, what you'd have to pay. So I've priced below that, and it's accounted for all fees, and here we go. So, but they're a commodity. I mean, like Colin from Kicking It said, there's stocks and bonds. I mean, basically that's, a lot of them are. Things go up and things go down. Huh? Yeah.
So just get rid of them before they fall apart.
That's true. Yeah. I need to look back, see what my oldest pairs are, and see. I mean, I see people with that, like, oh, they're falling apart. I'm like, I've never had that before. I don't know. I'm lucky, I guess. I'll knock on wood.
Yeah. The reason my Jordan 3 fell apart because they were just, at that point, they were being poorly made. So that particular year just was crap. I mean, my oldest shoe I have here is a pair of, I'm looking at them right now. They're the Reebok ice cream board flips back from 06.
Oh, yeah.
Still hanging on, man. I can still wear them. Yeah. So it's not every shoe, but I know it's a lot. Now, all right, man. So I promise you I won't keep you terribly long, so I'm going to keep that promise.
All right, cool.
So I'll just anything you're working on, like anything that's coming up. I know you have the shirts now. Anything that you want to let the people know about before we finish?
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of slowly rolling that out. I mean, it all came about just because I love baseball and I love sort of baseball classic logos and stuff. And I kind of always wanted something to go with my brand of Sneaker Grandpa. And so, but even as someone who works in advertising and graphic design, I'm not good at telling the story or, doing my own stuff. So I actually got a really talented guy that I met to do it for me, and he knocked it out of the park. So now, again, going back to I should be able to do this is sort of building a story, I guess, or the whole idea of a brand, you have people, I've got a brand, like, well, you print t-shirts, like that's, I don't want to take away from you, but is that really a brand? Like, what is your story? I mean, I hate to be that way. And, I had another good friend recently. He's like, well, really, you're the brand. I'm the brand, me and everything we've talked about and what I've said in the past in videos and in my posts, like that's the brand. I'm just putting a logo to that. And so I think trying to learn and kind of figure out sort of how to roll it out, get it out there. I mean, I've been lucky that I had Raekwon rock it for me the other day. I mean, that was like crazy. I
saw that, man.
Because I met him at that event and I handed it to him and he's like, oh, cool. To sign. I was like, no, this is for you. I was like, do you mind if we take a picture? He's like, no, I can't do that. He's like, but I got you. And I've heard that before. I had other people. I got you. Like literally 2 days later, he's wearing the video wearing. I'm like, oh shit, my DMs. Like, oh awesome, God. So I was like, wow, okay. So, but I think I made a lot of assumptions that people would automatically recognize it. And I guess what I've seen is that sort of outside of my friends and followers on Instagram, it hasn't really gone outside of that. But, it doesn't mean anything to anybody else. So just because it looks cool, nobody's going to look at it and go, I got to buy this. So, yeah, I mean, I'm working, but it's, it's just more of a fun thing for me. I've got a business to run here and stuff to do that I'm not looking to become a brand that way, but it's something fun. So I'm probably going to do some more t-shirts, maybe do some caps. I mean, stuff like that just to get it out there. So, yeah.
Man, I'm gonna hit you up because I'm actually, funny you said, I'm actually trying to work on some like branding and some logo stuff right now. So I'm going to give you a call because
let me know.
Illustrator's no joke.
I know.
Well, perfect, man. Well, go ahead. I mean, I know everyone knows already, but let's go ahead entertain us all. Let us know where to find you at on Instagram and all your different socials out there.
I am at Sneaker Grandpa on mostly just Instagram. I don't mess with TikTok. I've got a Twitter X, but I don't do much sneaker stuff. And I think I've got a Facebook page out there, mostly just for the product, for the merch. But, the really old people, not my old people, but older than me, took that over. So I'm out. So really Instagram, I focus on Instagram, and that's sort of where to find me. So that's where it's basically just sort of a diary of what I wear and random thoughts and stuff like that. So just having fun.
Awesome, man. Well, shoot. Well, appreciate the time, man. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, definitely. And this is, I always like to tell people I talk with, an open forum. So if you ever want to come back, you guys something promoting, you just want to talk again, you let me know. We'll make this happen.
We'll do it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Of course.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. All that. I'm sure with the kids, it's a fun time. So enjoy it.
Wrapping so many things.
Yeah. No, another reason not to be buying shoes for yourself right now.
Exactly.
Right?
I was like, no, I'm good. We're just going to stay back and let this happen. But no, it's been great, man. And yeah, happy holidays. Merry Christmas, everybody, as well. Everyone listening out there, you guys, make sure you follow Patrick, Sneaker Grandpa. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, everything he needs. Keep on his shirts and his merch. But also, if you like the podcast, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Follow us at Sneaker History. And until next time, guys, see ya.
Thanks, man. Talk soon.
Hey, everyone. This is Nick again. Before you take off, do us a solid and head over to Apple Podcasts to leave us a review. Give us a rating on Spotify and Amazon Music, and make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we have even more video content coming soon. Speaking of new content, we have an amazing community of sneaker enthusiasts that hang out in our Sneaker History Discord on a daily basis. While sneakers is a connection point that brought us all together, we've all discovered countless shared passions that we have in common with each other. We recently launched a couple of new podcasts directly from our community. One of them is a Formula One podcast. If you're an F1 fan like me, the Exhaust Notes podcast is your weekly fix of Formula One fun. It's hosted by myself, Rohit Malhotra, and Todd Yates. New episodes drop every Tuesday. I've been wearing fitted hats for years and collecting my favorite teams since I was a little leaguer. It has been awesome to see so many new fans getting into fitteds in recent years. Crown and Stitch is our new talk show about fitted hats with Dexter, Keith, and myself, where we talk about fitted hats, snapbacks, throw in some obscure hats because we all kind of like some funky stuff once in a while, don't we? Copping, collecting, and so much more. New episodes drop every Wednesday. Hit the links in the show notes for this episode to give our new shows a listen, and be on the lookout for more new podcasts dropping soon. Last but not least, tell someone you like their kicks today. You never know how far a simple compliment can take you, and we all know how good it feels to have someone show their appreciation. Thank you all for the support, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.